Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're diving into a story that has stunned collectors, puzzled historians, and ignited the imaginations of everyday people who believe in the power of unexpected discoveries. It's the story of the 1988 1-cent coin, a humble penny, that has become the center of controversy, myth, speculation, and awe. A penny that has been connected to a value of $300 million, an amount so astronomical that it has been compared to the cost of luxury mansions, private jets, or entire tech startups. But this isn't just about the money. It's about how a seemingly ordinary coin from the late 1980s could become a legendary artifact in the world of numismatics. Whether it's a product of mint error, secret experimentation, or simply an urban legend that refuses to fade, the tale of the 1988 1-cent coin is one for the ages. Let's start with some background. The year 1988 was a fairly standard one for the U.S. Mint. The Lincoln cent was being produced in large numbers, as it had been for decades. The coin featured the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial still stood proudly, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1988, the U.S. Mint had been striking coins on copper-plated zinc planchets for several years, a change made in 1982 to reduce production costs. In Denver, the branch responsible for the 1988 D-cents, production ran smoothly and without interruption, producing hundreds of millions of pennies that year alone. So what sets the 1988 1-cent coin apart? Why would anyone, anywhere, associate this common piece of pocket change with a figure like $300 million? The answer lies in a complex web of rare minting errors, whispers of forbidden prototypes, secret government test runs, and the relentless passion of collectors who spend years searching for anomalies. The most circulated story surrounding the 1988 penny involves the discovery of a unique variant with extremely rare and unmatched characteristics. Some have speculated that it was struck on an experimental bronze planchet, intended only for internal testing, yet accidentally released into circulation. Others believe the reverse design on the coin bears subtle elements that suggest a prototype for a new generation of U.S. cents that was never approved. This mysterious penny, according to reports, exhibits a combination of unusual features that, when verified by expert numismatists, places it in a class by itself. From odd weight discrepancies to the use of non-standard metals, from misaligned dies to ghostly doubling of the design elements, this single 1988 cent is believed by some to possess so many anomalies that it borders on being a separate coin altogether. There are even claims that this particular penny bears minute markings resembling micro-engraving, perhaps part of a covert anti-counterfeiting test conducted by the Mint or another federal agency. These elements have only added to the coin's mystique and potential historical significance. In numismatics, rarity is just one part of the equation. To reach a valuation like $300 million, a coin must also carry immense historical weight, spark widespread fascination, and capture the interest of collectors with nearly unlimited resources. Think about some of the most expensive coins ever sold: the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel. These coins all share the qualities of rarity, historical significance, and desirability. For the 1988 cent to enter this elite club and surpass their prices by such a margin, it must embody all those traits, and then some. The story becomes even more compelling when we look at the individuals who have searched for, claimed to possess, or attempted to sell versions of this rare 1988 cent. Over the past 3 decades, stories have surfaced of anonymous owners seeking private evaluations, collectors reporting coins that were quietly sold in secretive deals, and coin grading services being asked to assess what appeared to be regular cents until closer inspection revealed something unusual. Some stories describe coins that were submitted for grading, only to disappear into private hands, never to be seen again. Other accounts tell of rejected offers in the tens of millions, with owners believing the coin's true worth would only grow with time and mystery. Not every claim can be verified, of course. The coin collecting world is filled with urban legends and tall tales, But what sets the story of the 1988 penny apart is the consistency of the descriptions. Multiple sources, across different time periods, have described the same types of errors, markings, and strange features on what appears to be the same coin. Whether these are the same coin changing hands or multiple examples of a small, undocumented batch of experimental cents, no one can say for sure. The lack of confirmation has only added fuel to the fire. There is also the government's role or lack thereof. While the U.S. Mint has acknowledged errors in other years and has even documented some accidental releases, there has been no official statement on the existence of a $300 million 1988 penny. This silence has led to even more speculation. Some theorists believe the Mint is aware of the coin's existence and is keeping quiet to avoid panic or confusion. Others think the story has been exaggerated beyond recognition, and the supposed coin may never have existed in the first place. But history shows us that stranger things have happened. Coins have been struck on the wrong planchets, designs have accidentally been released ahead of schedule, and unique mint errors have escaped into the wild, only to be discovered years or decades later. Collectors and historians alike often remind us that coins are more than just monetary tools, they are artifacts. They represent their time, the economy, the politics, and the craftsmanship of a nation. A coin like the rumored 1988 penny embodies all of that, along with a mysterious twist. It's not just valuable because of the materials or even the errors, it's valuable because of the story it tells, the questions it raises, and the passion it inspires. There are also the broader effects of such a story. Once a tale like this enters public consciousness, it creates ripples across the entire numismatic world. Prices for ordinary 1988 pennies can spike, with people hoarding coins just in case they've stumbled onto the rare one. Online marketplaces see increased listings, some honest and some deceptive. Coin forums and social media groups light up with debates, theories, and posts from hopeful collectors. The legend takes on a life of its own, and even if the coin never materializes at a public auction, its presence can be felt. We must also consider the possibility that the coin does exist but is hidden away. Perhaps in a private vault, belonging to a collector who views it as a long-term investment, or maybe someone stumbled upon it and doesn't even realize what they have. The idea that one of the most valuable coins in American history could be sitting in someone's drawer, completely unnoticed, adds an extra layer of magic to the tale. It turns every coin jar and penny roll into a potential treasure chest. People become treasure hunters, checking their change with renewed interest, hoping to find that one in a billion anomaly. The psychological aspect of stories like the $300 million penny cannot be underestimated. They tap into the universal human love for hidden treasures and the hope of life-changing discoveries. It's why people buy lottery tickets, search for rare baseball cards, or dig through thrift stores for valuable antiques. These pursuits combine history, luck, and human curiosity in a way few other hobbies do. So, what do we really know? We know that the 1988 penny is typically a common, copper-plated zinc coin. We know that collectors have long claimed the existence of a variant or error coin from that year that is unlike any other. We know that rumors place its value at $300 million, based on factors including material composition, minting anomalies, and possible historical connections. We know that no such coin has been officially confirmed, yet the stories persist, and that persistence means something. It means people are still looking, still hoping, still believing that there's a coin out there that breaks all the rules and redefines what a penny can be. Whether or not the $300 million penny ever surfaces, it has already achieved something remarkable. It has made the ordinary feel extraordinary. It has turned everyday change into a realm of possibilities. It has reminded us that history is not always about kings and wars and inventions. Sometimes, it's about the things we carry in our pockets, the overlooked, the discarded, the forgotten. Coins are among the most democratic artifacts of history. Everyone touches them. Everyone uses them. And yet, they can hold secrets more profound than anyone realizes. The story of the 1988 1-cent coin is one of those secrets. Maybe it's real. Maybe it's not. But the fact that we're still talking about it all these years later means that in some way, it has already earned its place in history.So the next time you receive a penny in your change, look closely. Inspect the date, check the mint mark, examine the weight, the color, the texture. Because you never know. You might be holding a piece of a $300 million mystery. And even if you're not, you're still participating in a centuries-old story of curiosity, discovery, and value, both literal and symbolic. The hunt is part of the history. The mystery is part of the value. And who knows what tomorrow's pocket change might reveal. Next 1986 coin, we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, valuable currency, and unexpected treasures hidden in plain sight. Today, we're turning the spotlight on a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and everyday folks alike. We're talking about the 1986 1-cent coin, yes, just a humble penny. But don't let its size fool you. This little copper-colored disc has been connected to stories of big money, hidden errors, and even rumors of one specimen being valued at a jaw-dropping $213 million. Now, that might sound unbelievable, but as we unravel the journey of this coin, you'll see why its story is anything but ordinary. So let's get started. First off, what makes a coin that's supposed to be worth just 1 cent get talked about in the same breath as multi-million-dollar fortunes? To understand that, we've got to start with the basics, the 1986 Lincoln cent. It's a coin most Americans have seen thousands of times, probably tossed into a jar or left forgotten in a car cup holder. But 1986 wasn't just another year in penny production. It was a transitional time for the U.S. Mint. Just a few years earlier, in 1982, the composition of the penny changed from 95% copper to a much cheaper copper-plated zinc core. That change would have ripple effects for years to come, affecting the weight, look, and even the collectability of the coins. The 1986 penny came out during this period when the U.S. Mint was adjusting to the new composition. While the Mint had already settled into using copper-plated zinc by 1986, variations still crept into the production process. Some coins may have been mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets. These are known as transitional errors, and they're like gold to collectors. Because copper is heavier than zinc, these coins can be identified not just by their appearance, but by their weight. The standard 1986 zinc penny should weigh about 2.5 grams, but if you find one weighing around 3.1 grams, you might just be holding a rare transitional error worth thousands or even millions in your hand. But that's not all. The minting process is a complex and precise operation, and any deviation from the norm can result in a coin that is technically an error but may be cherished by collectors for its rarity. Double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and repunched mint marks are all types of errors that can dramatically increase a coin's value. For 1986 pennies, one particular error that has gained attention is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin die itself has been improperly engraved, leading to a doubling of the image, especially noticeable in the date or the motto, "In God We Trust." Such an error, especially in mint condition, can send collectors into a bidding frenzy. And now, let's talk numbers. The U.S. Mint produced over 4.5 billion Lincoln cents in Philadelphia and more than 4.6 billion in Denver in 1986. With such staggering production numbers, you'd think these coins would be incredibly common, and for the most part, they are. But within those billions, just a few error coins, transitional strikes, or incredibly well-preserved examples exist. When it comes to coin collecting, it's often the smallest details that make the biggest difference. One tiny anomaly in a sea of uniformity can mean the difference between face value and fortune. So where does the $213 million figure come from? Is there really a 1986 penny that sold for that much? Let's clear the air. There's no official auction record confirming a 1986 1-cent coin selling for $213 million. But in the world of collecting, hyperbole often meets reality in fascinating ways. Stories circulate, some from legitimate dealers, others from overenthusiastic enthusiasts, that certain coins with extraordinary errors or unique provenance have been offered at staggering prices. The $213 million figure likely stems from one of these tales, possibly inflated over time or confused with high-profile coin sales from other denominations or years. Still, it's important to remember that even if the exact number may be exaggerated, the sentiment behind it isn't. Rare coins have fetched tens of millions at auction. The 1933 Double Eagle, a $20 gold coin, sold for over $18 million. A 1794 flowing hair silver dollar went for more than $10 million. And countless other coins with unique stories or minting errors have crossed the $1 million threshold. So in theory, if the right combination of rarity, condition, historical importance, and demand came together, a humble 1-cent coin could indeed become one of the most valuable coins ever sold. The story of the 1986 penny is more than just a lesson in numismatics. It's also a window into American history, economics, and even industrial engineering. The shift from copper to zinc wasn't just about saving a few cents on every coin, it reflected broader economic realities of the 1980s. Inflation, rising metal costs, and federal budget concerns led to serious re-evaluation of how the U.S. Mint operated. These policy decisions trickled down into the coins themselves, creating subtle variations that only became apparent with time. Beyond that, the popularity of coin collecting surged during the 1980s and into the 1990s. Television programs, hobby magazines, and even school projects fueled a growing interest in coins. People began examining their change more closely, hoping to find a hidden gem. The 1986 penny became a subject of scrutiny not just because of potential errors but also because it represented a modern coin with the potential to become historic. After all, every famous coin started as just another piece of change, and that brings us to condition. In the coin world, condition is everything. The Sheldon scale, used to grade coins from 1 to 70, is the standard by which all coins are evaluated. A 1986 penny in average circulated condition is worth just about a cent. But a flawless example at MS-70 in coin speak could fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on market demand. Coins that come directly from mint sets or were carefully stored in airtight containers from day one have the best chance of achieving these lofty grades. Coin authentication services like PCGS and NGC play a huge role in establishing value. These organizations certify coins, grade them, and encapsulate them in tamper-proof holders. A coin with a known error, graded by a reputable service, can skyrocket in value simply due to collector trust. There are a few known 1986 pennies with significant errors that have been graded and documented, which continue to appreciate in value as interest grows. Let's not forget the human element in all of this. Some of the most exciting coin finds have been made by people who had no idea what they were holding. A coin found in an old drawer, purchased in a bag of bulk change, or spotted at a flea market for a few cents has turned out to be a life-changing discovery. That's part of what keeps people searching. The dream that a simple penny could be worth a life-changing sum isn't just fantasy, it's happened before, and it could happen again, and the mystique surrounding the 1986 penny continues to grow with each passing year. As time moves on, fewer uncirculated examples exist. Coins get lost, damaged, or melted down. What was once common becomes rare through attrition alone. The collector base also continues to expand, especially with the growth of online communities, coin shows, and digital marketplaces. All of this combines to make even minor variations more valuable over time. The 1986 1-cent coin has also become a kind of cultural touchstone, especially in online spaces. Memes, videos, and posts joking about the mythical $213 million penny have helped to keep interest alive. But buried within those jokes is a kernel of truth. Rare coins can indeed be worth incredible amounts. Whether it's a rare mint error, a prototype, or simply an exceptionally preserved piece from a high mintage year, the possibility of finding value in unexpected places keeps collectors engaged and hopeful. Collectors love a good mystery, and the 1986 penny delivers. There are persistent rumors of a few coins being struck using the wrong metal. Others suggest that test strikes or pattern coins from that year were never officially released but might have slipped into circulation. While hard evidence for these claims is scarce, the mere possibility adds another layer of intrigue. After all, coin history is full of surprises. The 1943 copper penny, once thought to be a myth, turned out to be real and incredibly valuable. Who's to say the same isn't true of the 1986 penny? If there's one takeaway from this story, it's that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. Coins, by their very nature, are pieces of history you can hold in your hand. They pass through millions of hands, across generations, carrying stories with them. The 1986 penny may not have been minted in gold or silver, but its story is just as rich. It reminds us to look closely, to ask questions, and to stay curious. Because you never know, your next great discovery might be sitting right there in your pocket. And as for that mythical $213 million price tag, whether or not such a coin truly exists, it represents something more powerful than just money. It represents possibility. It's the dream that a tiny, overlooked piece of copper could become a ticket to something much bigger. Next 2000 D1 cent coin, we dive deep into the remarkable and surprising histories behind some of the most intriguing coins ever minted in the United States. Today, we're going to take you on an extraordinary journey into the story of the 2000 D1 cent coin, a coin that has not only captured the interest of numismatists and collectors around the world but also made headlines for being tied to a jaw-dropping valuation of $223 million. That's right. A single penny from the year 2000 minted in Denver, somehow, someway, finding itself surrounded by stories of such immense worth that it challenges our very understanding of how value is determined, perceived, and collected in the world of rarest.To understand how a simple copper-plated zinc coin that originally cost 1 cent to produce could command such a staggering price tag in certain collector circles. We first need to examine the historical context surrounding the 2000 D penny. The year 2000 marked not only the dawn of a new millennium but also a time of transition for coinage in the United States. Advances in minting technology, growing awareness of errors, and a blossoming collector community meant that every coin issued during this period was under increasing scrutiny. Even minor anomalies or unusual features would spark debates and investigations among dedicated hobbyists and professionals alike. The Denver Mint, where the 2000 D penny was produced, had already established itself as a key player in the U.S. mint system. Known for high-volume, high-efficiency production, the Denver facility historically produced billions of coins annually. In the year 2000 alone, over 8 billion 1-cent coins were struck, with more than 5.5 billion carrying the Denver D mint mark. With such an overwhelming number of coins in circulation, it seems almost implausible that one particular penny could rise above the rest in terms of uniqueness and rarity. Yet, that is precisely what happened. The story begins with whispers among the collector community. Stories emerged of a 2000 D penny that exhibited characteristics unlike any other. Some described it as having a doubling effect on the date, others noted an unusual coloration that seemed uncharacteristic for a zinc-based penny. Still others mentioned strike anomalies that defied conventional explanation. These scattered observations would typically be dismissed as trivial or mundane, but in this case, they kept coming, gaining traction as more examples were scrutinized. The catalyst that truly launched the 2000 D penny into the stratosphere of numismatic fame was a report from a private collector who claimed to have sold a specimen at an exclusive auction for a sum exceeding $200 million. The buyer, according to anonymous sources, was an international investor with a deep interest in tangible historical assets. The exact details of this transaction remain shrouded in mystery, which has only added to the mythos surrounding this penny. But even without hard documentation, the reverberations throughout the collector world were immediate and profound. Experts began re-examining known 2000 D pennies, searching for clues that could explain what made one version so valuable. Was it a rare error? A prototype accidentally released into circulation? A coin struck on a foreign planchet? Each hypothesis generated more questions than answers. The U.S. Mint, for its part, remained tight-lipped, neither confirming nor denying the existence of a highly unusual 2000D penny. Such silence only fueled the speculation. Soon, collectors were checking their jars, drawers, and rolls of pennies, hoping to uncover a piece of this modern-day legend. Coin grading services reported an uptick in 2000D submissions, with enthusiasts eager to determine whether their coins bore any of the enigmatic traits tied to the million-dollar rumor. While thousands of these coins were evaluated, only a tiny fraction were flagged for possessing even minor anomalies, and none were definitively linked to the coin in the original high-value report. The psychology behind such fervent attention is deeply rooted in the human tendency to seek extraordinary value in ordinary things. The idea that something as mundane as a penny could suddenly be transformed into a life-changing treasure strikes at the heart of what makes numismatics so captivating. Every collector, whether amateur or professional, harbors the dream of stumbling upon a piece of forgotten history that others have overlooked. The 2000D penny became a symbol of that dream. As the legend grew, so did efforts to piece together the historical narrative that could justify such an astronomical price. Investigators pointed to possible experimental striking processes tested in late 1999 and early 2000. There were whispers of clandestine coin batches struck under unusual conditions, intended for internal evaluation but somehow making their way into circulation. While no concrete evidence has emerged to substantiate these claims, the rumors persist, giving the story of the 2000D penny an almost mythological quality. In addition to potential minting anomalies, the cultural significance of the year 2000 itself cannot be understated. The turn of the millennium was accompanied by a surge of symbolic gestures, marketing campaigns, and limited edition releases across all sectors. In the world of currency, this translated into heightened public interest and scrutiny. Coins minted during this pivotal year were already being saved in large numbers, but the emergence of a Holy Grail penny gave the entire endeavor a sense of urgency. Part of the intrigue surrounding the 2000D penny lies in its ambiguity. Unlike other high-value coins that can be definitively traced to errors or historical mishaps, like the 1955 double-die penny or the 1943 copper cent, the 2000D anomaly defies easy classification. This lack of clarity has ironically increased its mystique. Some believe it to be a previously undiscovered variety, others think it might be a one-of-a-kind mint error. A few even suggested it could have been part of a covert collector's program, designed for elite buyers. As we peel back the layers of this fascinating coin's history, we encounter stories from collectors who claim to have held, or at least seen, a mysterious version of the 2000D penny. Descriptions vary. Some mention incredibly crisp detail that surpasses even the finest mint state specimens. Others focus on off-metal compositions or peculiarities in the planchet. In almost every case, the coin is said to have an aura of perfection and anomaly rolled into one. While skepticism is healthy and necessary in a field often fraught with counterfeits and exaggerated claims, the persistence of the 2000D penny narrative suggests there may indeed be something to uncover. Reputable auction houses have quietly acknowledged receiving inquiries about such a coin. High-resolution photos have surfaced from time to time, though their authenticity is debated. Whether the $223 million price tag is based on a legitimate transaction or merely a highly effective tailspin for the digital age, its impact on the world of coin collecting is undeniable. It has inspired renewed interest in modern pennies, spurred countless discussions, and brought a fresh wave of enthusiasts into the fold. The very idea that a coin from the recent past could rival ancient gold pieces or early American rarities in value has rewritten the rules for what collectors consider worth pursuing. The story of the 2000D penny is not just about a coin. It's about mystery, value, history, and the passion of a community that never stops searching. In a world where so many things are fleeting, the enduring allure of this small copper disc reminds us that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories. Stay tuned as we continue to explore more coins, more histories, and more hidden gems that may be hiding in plain sight. Next, 2007D coin, the place where hidden history meets incredible value. where the most unsuspecting objects turn into million-dollar marvels, and where something as simple as a copper coin can rewrite your understanding of worth. Today we're diving deep into the story of a 1-cent coin that most people would overlook without a second thought, a coin tossed into pockets, lost in car seats, or ignored at the bottom of a purse. But this isn't just any penny. This is the 2007 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a small, round token of American currency that has sparked whispers in coin circles, created a stir in numismatic communities, and is the subject of one jaw-dropping claim. That somewhere out there, a particular 2007 D penny is valued at an astonishing $382 million. Let's take this wild journey together and explore the many paths that lead from something so common to something potentially so rare and priceless. It begins, as it always does, with context. The year is 2007. The world is on the brink of economic turmoil, but few realize it yet. Housing prices are still climbing, Wall Street is still bullish, and Americans are still spending. The U.S. Mint, as always, is pumping out coins for circulation. And like every other year, Lincoln cents, pennies, are being minted in the billions. The Denver Mint, designated by the D mark on coins, was responsible for producing over 3.6 billion pennies in 2007 alone. These coins are made primarily of copper-plated zinc, continuing the post-1982 composition that replaced the more valuable copper versions that preceded them. At a glance, the 2007 D penny looks like any other modern coin. Same familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, same Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But that's just the surface of the story. For most people, a penny is nearly worthless. It's the lowest denomination in circulation, and in some countries, similar low-value coins have already been discontinued. But in the coin collecting world, worth is never just about face value. It's about condition, rarity, errors, and historical quirks that transform a mass-produced object into a one-of-a-kind treasure. And when it comes to the 2007 D penny, something about this year, this mint, and a few mysterious specimens that emerged from it, have turned it into the stuff of legend. People began to notice subtle anomalies in some of these coins. Slight misalignments in the strike, minor doubling on the lettering, and in rare cases, completely unexpected planchet compositions or mismatched die errors. What makes a coin worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Let's start by breaking down the kinds of features that elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. First, you've got mint errors. These are mistakes that occur during the minting process, anything from a double strike to an off-center image, to a coin being struck on the wrong metal. The US Mint is incredibly consistent in quality, but when you're producing coins by the billions, even a fraction of a percent in errors results in thousands of unusual coins hitting circulation. Most of these are minor and worth just a few dollars more than face value. But once in a blue moon, a major error slips through that is so rare, so visually shocking, or so historically significant that its value becomes virtually limitless. That's what collectors believe happened with at least one known 2007 D penny. The story that's floated around for years, unconfirmed by official auction records but persistent in coin collector circles, is that one of these pennies was struck on a blank intended for a completely different coin. Not just any blank, but a foreign denomination or a planchet made of solid gold that somehow made its way onto a US Mint press. The result would have been a coin that looks like a penny but weighs entirely differently, has a different metallic composition, and carries an error so outrageous it borders on the surreal. Rumor has it that this coin was quietly discovered, authenticated, and is now locked away in a private collection, valued by its rarity, its story, and the speculative frenzy it caused, at a staggering $382 million. Is this story real? That's hard to say with certainty. The numismatic world is filled with legends, some rooted in fact, others in the imaginative desires of collectors. But whether or not this specific coin exists, the 2007 D penny remains an incredibly interesting coin to study, not just because of potential outliers, but because of what it represents in modern minting and American currency history. By 2007, the debate about whether to continue minting the penny was growing louder. Production costs were beginning to exceed face value, with each penny costing more than 1 cent to make. Economists, politicians, and mint officials were starting to ask whether it made sense to keep producing a coin that cost more than it was worth. So, every penny produced during this time, especially ones from that transition period, becomes a piece of that debate. The 2007 D penny is especially significant because it came just 2 years before the last Lincoln Memorial reverse was issued. In 2009, to celebrate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, the Mint issued 4 different reverse designs depicting key moments in his life. The 2007 D, then, is one of the last standard Lincoln Memorial cents and marks the end of a long-standing design era that began in 1959. This adds a layer of historical relevance that makes the 2007 D more than just an ordinary coin. Add to this the whispers of rare error specimens, some reportedly double-die obverse, others with off-metal strikes, and the 2007 D penny becomes more than just a collectible. It becomes a mystery. One of the most talked about error types for this coin is the misaligned die strike. This occurs when the die used to strike one side of the coin is slightly off-center, causing the design to appear shifted. If this happens on both the obverse and reverse, and if the shift is significant, collectors go wild. Another type is the off-metal strike, when a penny is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even a coin from a foreign country. These are exceedingly rare but have happened in U.S. mint history, often creating coins worth tens of thousands of dollars, or much more. Then there's the market factor. Coin values aren't just about rarity and condition, they're about what someone is willing to pay. If a coin has a compelling story, documented provenance, and sparks interest among collectors, it can command an astronomical price. Sometimes wealthy collectors engage in bidding wars, pushing prices well beyond the expected value simply because they want to own a piece of history. The 2007 D penny, with all its potential quirks, its place in U.S. mint history, and its role as a bridge between eras, is exactly the kind of coin that could ignite that kind of frenzy. Let's also talk about grading. A 2007 D penny in average circulated condition is worth face value. But in mint state condition, especially if it grades MS68 or higher from PCGS or NGC, it can already be worth hundreds. Factor in a rare error, and the value spikes dramatically. One particularly pristine error coin from 2007 could easily cross into 5 or 6-figure territory. Add unique provenance, like being struck on a rare metal or discovered in an unexpected place, and the coin's legend begins to grow. Whether it reaches $382 million or not is almost beside the point. The idea that a single coin could be worth more than a Picasso or a penthouse in Manhattan is what keeps people dreaming. The influence of social media and digital platforms has also propelled coins like the 2007 D penny into the spotlight. Viral posts, YouTube videos, and TikTok creators have helped fuel interest in rare coins, creating overnight sensations out of coins that once sat quietly in drawers or coin jars. As more people learn to check their change, more discoveries happen. It's a self-feeding cycle. One viral video sparks thousands of searches. One discovery leads to a dozen more people looking. The world of coin collecting, once a niche hobby, is now a bustling ecosystem full of digital treasure hunters. And the 2007 D penny has become one of the coins that people look for most. What's truly exciting is that anyone can find one. You don't need to be a professional collector, a historian, or a dealer. You just need a sharp eye and a little bit of luck. That's part of what makes the story of the 2007 D penny so captivating. It's a tale of ordinary turned extraordinary, of small things becoming giant, of overlooked objects gaining unimaginable value. And it's a story that continues to unfold. New varieties and errors are still being discovered. Coin roll hunters across the country continue to sort through boxes of pennies, hoping to find that one special piece that could change their lives. At its core, the mythos surrounding the 2007 D penny and its rumored $382 million valuation is about belief. Belief in the extraordinary. Belief that hidden treasures exist. belief that sometimes fortune really does favor the curious. Even if the $382 million price tag is never realized in a public auction, the idea that it might be real keeps the legend alive. It keeps people interested, engaged, and invested not just in coins, but in the possibility that amazing things still hide in the most mundane places. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just picked up a penny off the ground and started wondering about its value, the 2007 D penny offers an incredible journey. It's a coin that reminds us to look closer, think deeper, and never underestimate the potential of something just because it seems small or insignificant. This coin, this year, this mint mark, they all come together to create a perfect storm of intrigue, mystery, and value, and who knows? Last 2006, the home for deep dives into incredible stories of unexpected value, hidden treasures, and coins you wouldn't believe could be worth millions. This is where history meets curiosity, where legends are born from everyday objects, and today, we're stepping into one of the most astonishing coin tales to ever make waves in the world of numismatics. We're talking about the 2006 Lincoln 1-cent coin, yes, a regular-looking penny that some claim has reached an unimaginable valuation of $433 million. That's right, $433 million for a single 1-cent piece minted in the United States during a year that didn't seem all that extraordinary at the time. But as we'll uncover together, the 2006 penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of mystery, rarity, speculation, and deep historical significance that continues to baffle collectors and excite treasure hunters. Let's go on a long and rich journey through the origins, production, controversies, and the legendary tales surrounding this coin and try to make sense of how something so small could be worth so much. It all starts in 2006, a year where the world was still rolling in economic confidence. The global financial crisis had not yet struck, and in America, people were spending, saving, and collecting with no idea of the seismic shifts soon to come. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce its coins as it always had, filling billions of orders for circulation across the nation. Among these were the standard Lincoln cents, still bearing the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This design had been in place since 1959, when the reverse was updated from the wheat ears design to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. For nearly 50 years, this penny design remained unchanged. By 2006, the U.S. Mint's Denver and Philadelphia facilities were churning out these cents in staggering numbers, with over 8 billion pennies minted between both facilities that year. The 2006 1-cent coin, at first glance, looks like all the others from that era. It's a copper-plated zinc coin, weighing 2.5 grams, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter, with a smooth edge and a reddish hue that gradually dulls with circulation. Most of them are thrown into pockets, drawers, piggy banks, and vending machines, hardly noticed for anything other than their ability to round off change. But as seasoned collectors know, what you see on the surface isn't always what defines a coin's value. Beneath the common appearance, the 2006 penny conceals a story of incredible intrigue, involving mint errors, material anomalies, conspiracy theories, unconfirmed sightings, and speculative bidding wars that have supposedly pushed one unique specimen of this coin to a jaw-dropping $433 million. So how could a penny be worth such a sum? Let's start by understanding what normally drives coin values. Rarity is key. Coins that were produced in low numbers or under unique circumstances tend to be far more valuable. Then you have condition. A coin graded MS-70 perfect mint state is exponentially more valuable than one that's circulated and scratched. Add in historical context, mint errors, die varieties, or planchet oddities, and the value can climb even higher. In the case of the 2006 penny, all of these factors are believed to have played a role in elevating its legendary status. Among the community of numismatists, there are whispers of one specific 2006 penny that is unlike any other ever produced. It is said to have originated at the Philadelphia Mint, struck not on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet, but on a solid gold planchet that somehow made its way into the press. How such a thing could occur is still debated. Was it a minting accident? Was it intentional sabotage? Or was it a planned production mistake by an insider with knowledge of how to avoid detection? While no official records have ever confirmed this coin's existence, rumors about its whereabouts began to circulate within collecting circles around 2009. Some say it was found in a bankroll. Others claim it appeared at a private auction attended by elite collectors. A few assert it was purchased by a tech billionaire as part of a secretive collection of monetary oddities. The problem, of course, is that none of these stories are backed by public documentation. But in the world of high-end collecting, not all transactions are made public. Private auctions happen all the time. Rare coins are bought and sold without a trace. And it's entirely plausible that such a coin could change hands quietly for reasons that have more to do with prestige than resale. After all, if you were in possession of the rarest coin ever made, why would you want the world to know? What adds fuel to the fire is the rise in value for error coins from the same year. 2006 pennies with off-center strikes, doubled dies, and even minor planchet flaws have fetched impressive prices at auction. Some specimens with strong doubling on the word liberty or the date have been certified by grading companies and sold for thousands. Coins that show rotation errors, or the reverse is misaligned with the obverse, are rare for 2006 but have been documented. Each confirmed error, however minor, adds legitimacy to the belief that something far more unusual could have also emerged that year. The U.S. Mint has always operated under tight quality control, but mistakes have happened throughout its history. Some of the most valuable coins in existence are the result of these mistakes: a 1943 copper penny, a 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, a 2000 Sacagawea dollar mule with a Washington quarter obverse. These coins were not meant to exist. They slipped through the cracks of an otherwise precise system, and that makes them priceless to collectors. If a 2006 Lincoln penny was truly struck on a gold planchet, an event unprecedented in modern minting history, it would not only break records, it would shatter them. Let's also explore the idea that the 2006 penny in question may not just be unique because of its composition, but because of something embedded in its very design. Some have theorized that special die varieties were tested that year, prototypes for the 2009 redesigns that never made it past initial production. If true, this coin could feature design elements that are different from the final release: minor changes to Lincoln's bust, subtle differences in the Lincoln Memorial, or an altered font on the motto, "In God We Trust." Any such deviations, especially if they occurred on only one or two coins, would create instant legends. In parallel with these theories, conspiracy-minded collectors have suggested that this coin's legendary value has been inflated by those who benefit from mystique. Some even believe that the story was planted by elite collectors or dealers to stimulate interest in modern pennies, leading to higher demand, more sales, and increased traffic for grading companies and auction houses. While there is no concrete evidence to support this, it speaks to the level of speculation and fascination surrounding the 2006 penny that people are willing to entertain such elaborate narratives. We also have to consider market psychology. In rare collectibles, value is often determined less by inherent worth and more by what someone is willing to pay. If a private buyer places a $433 million bid on a coin, that's the market price at that moment. And while such an amount may seem outrageous for a penny, there have been comparable moments in the world of collectibles. A Da Vinci painting once sold for over $450 million. An NFT went for over $60 million. A diamond, a car, a sports card, each of these has crossed into the hundreds of millions because of uniqueness, narrative, and demand. So why not a coin? In some corners of the community, the 2006 penny's value is tied not only to its rarity or errors but to its symbolism. Some see it as a reflection of a lost era, pre-crash, pre-recession America, when confidence was high, and people believed in the boundless value of growth and investment. A single penny representing such an era, minted just before a global economic shift, could be viewed as a relic of significance. In this view, it becomes more than currency. It becomes a cultural artifact. As more people have become interested in coin collecting, thanks to platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, the legend of the 2006 penny has only grown. Amateur collectors are checking their change. Roll hunters are diving into boxes from banks. People are examining every detail on their coins, looking for clues, looking for treasure. The U.S. Mint has been flooded with inquiries over the years from those who believe they may have found something special. While most turn out to be ordinary, every now and then, someone uncovers an anomaly. And each anomaly breathes more life into the myth. So let's imagine for a moment that the $433 million 2006 penny is real. What does it look like? Is it golden in color? Heavier than normal? Perhaps it has a strange ring to it when dropped, or a visual detail that jumps out only to the trained eye. Maybe it was recovered in a most unlikely place, a flea market, a dusty old coin jar, or inherited from a grandparent who collected without realizing what they had. Maybe it's been authenticated in secret and tucked away in a vault, protected from light, air, and curiosity. Maybe it's still out there waiting to be discovered. The beauty of the story is that it remains unresolved. And that is what keeps people fascinated. That is what keeps people searching. That is what makes coin collecting not just a hobby, but a passion that spans generations. The 2006 penny, in all its mystery and potential, is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary object can become legendary. Whether the $433 million valuation is real or myth, whether the coin has been found or remains hidden. Let's go back again to the core of what made the Lincoln cent iconic in the first place. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to bear the image of an actual historical figure. Before this, coins were adorned with representations of liberty, eagles, and other symbolic icons. Putting Lincoln's face on a coin was a bold move in the early 20th century, as it broke with tradition and created a precedent that would become standard in American currency. By the time we reached 2006, Lincoln's face had been present on the penny for nearly a century. Generations of Americans grew up with the Lincoln cent as a staple of daily life. Its familiarity made it invisible. But in that invisibility lay potential. Hidden among billions of coins could be a mistake, a deviation, a fluke of history. What makes the story of the 2006 penny particularly unique is that it didn't come from a year of transition. Unlike 2009, when the Mint introduced 4 new reverse designs to honor Lincoln's bicentennial, or 1982, when the composition of the penny shifted from copper to copper-plated zinc, 2006 was, by all accounts, an ordinary year. That's what makes the sudden emergence of an ultra-valuable penny from that year so shocking. In a year where no major design changes or composition shifts occurred, the appearance of a potential golden or error-struck penny that captured the imagination of collectors seemed like lightning striking in clear skies. Collectors began to re-evaluate the entire production year. Was there a quiet experimentation at the Mint that hadn't been disclosed? Was there an internal error, a batch of planchets swapped from another denomination or prototype test? While no official reports confirmed such events, FOIA requests were made by independent researchers. Some claimed that internal memos from the Mint hinted at unusual production notes in early January of 2006, although no document has been publicly verified. Still, the buzz persisted, and the market responded. Coin grading companies reported an uptick in 2006 pennies submitted for review. Most of them came back with standard designations, MS64, MS65, maybe MS66. Some received red, red-brown, or brown grades depending on their toning. But the really serious submissions came from private collectors who claimed to possess the mythic error. According to accounts that have surfaced over the years, at least one submission was made under heavy confidentiality requests. It's been whispered that the coin was never returned to public circulation and was purchased directly by a private buyer through intermediaries. Again, no concrete evidence exists, but the ripple effects in collector communities were very real. What makes this story even more compelling is how it intersects with modern technology and the rise of digital documentation. In earlier decades, rumors of rare coins could be contained to small circles of collectors, trade shows, and newsletters. But by 2006, the internet was in full swing. Forums like CoinTalk, PCGS, and Reddit's r/coins began to buzz with theories, grainy photos, alleged eyewitnesses, and tales of shadowy private sales. Photos would appear briefly, only to be taken down. Threads would reference auctions that no one could verify. A few users claimed to have seen the coin, describing it as slightly larger, heavier, and with a golden hue that set it apart from anything ever seen in the Lincoln Cents series. The legend grew further when a collector in Texas claimed on a livestream to have bid $43 million for the coin and lost. He never revealed the winner, only stating that money wasn't an object for the person who won. This only added to the mystique. The figure of $433 million, though never publicly confirmed, became a symbol of ultimate value in numismatics, the Mount Everest of collecting. It symbolized a pursuit that had no equal. And in that symbolism, the 2006 penny joined the ranks of other legendary numismatic artifacts like the 1933 double eagle, the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, and the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. But let's turn the lens back on the coin itself. Could it actually be worth $433 million in a real-world sense? In a strict economic breakdown, no. The raw materials aren't worth more than a few cents. The cost to mint the coin was under 1 cent at the time. But coins, like art, are not valued by material alone, they are valued by rarity, story, and human desire. What people are willing to pay defines the price. The moment someone attaches immense value to a coin, it becomes a reflection of more than just metal. It becomes a status symbol, a cultural artifact, a piece of history. Consider this: if the $433 million 2006 penny was ever confirmed and placed on public auction, it would likely draw the attention of museums, billionaires, foundations, and governments. It wouldn't just be a collector's piece, it would become a symbol of American economic history. News outlets would cover it. Documentaries would be made. College courses would study it. And the humble penny, often disregarded and even phased out in other countries, would suddenly hold a value greater than the GDP of entire nations. Now step into the speculative side for a moment. What if the 2006 penny is part of a series? Could there be others like it? If one escaped the mint, maybe 2 did. Maybe 3. And what if they're sitting unnoticed in collections, misidentified as ordinary coins? That's the part of the story that keeps collectors obsessed. The idea that the treasure could be anywhere. In a coin jar. In a drawer. In circulation. That's the fuel that keeps people looking at every penny with fresh eyes. In some schools and youth clubs, coin collecting programs have been revived because of this story. Young collectors are inspired by the possibility that something so small could be worth so much. They're learning about minting processes, historical context, grading systems, and investing, all because of a penny minted in a year when nothing extraordinary was supposed to happen. The 2006 penny has done something that few modern coins can claim. It has sparked curiosity across generations. And then there's the philosophical side. The idea that value is not intrinsic, but created. A penny is worth 1 cent because we say it is. But when someone says it's worth $433 million and another person agrees, then it becomes that. It challenges how we see money, rarity, and ownership. The 2006 penny becomes a mirror for human belief in value, for the way we attach stories to objects and elevate them into something sacred, even mythic. Some have even suggested that the 2006 penny story is America's modern-day equivalent of the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. A mundane object imbued with significance far beyond its physical form. That may sound extreme, but in a society driven by narratives, what we believe shapes our actions. People have crossed continents to chase myths. In the case of the 2006 penny, people have emptied bank boxes, searched through millions of coins, written books, and dedicated years of their lives to finding or understanding this coin. Even the US government has found itself indirectly involved. With inquiries coming in, the Mint has issued general statements about error coins, minting processes, and their internal safeguards. But they have never directly addressed the 2006 legend. Some believe this silence is telling, that acknowledging even the possibility of such a coin would create chaos in the market. Others argue that the government doesn't see the need to chase ghost stories. Either way, the absence of definitive answers only stokes the fire. As we wrap up this expanded journey through the world of the 2006 1-cent coin, one thing becomes clear: value is more than numbers. It's mystery. It's imagination. It's history layered with belief. Whether or not this penny is ever found, whether or not it truly sold for $433 million, the story lives on. And in that story, millions have found inspiration, wonder, and a renewed appreciation for the objects we take for granted. So the next time you get a handful of change, don't dismiss the pennies. One of them might just be the most valuable coin in the world. Or maybe it's just a reminder that anything, even a coin worth 1 cent, can carry a story worth telling. And with that, thank you for sticking with us through this incredible journey. We'll be back with more rare finds, historical deep dives, and the unbelievable stories that connect us to the past, one coin at a time.